And the time is 6:45 Eastern. That means polls are closing in Florida 15 minutes from now, or in just about all of Florida. The Panhandle, some of those counties not for another hour after that, but just about everything closes in 15 minutes. And in Florida, they report their votes quickly. That means we're going to get a lot of numbers real fast 15 minutes from now. And there are a lot of races to be getting those numbers in. Some of the headlines tonight in Florida, we're going to be following the governor's race here. Republican side, Byron Donalds, the clear favorite, endorsed by Donald Trump in this race. Facing several opponents, though, including the state's lieutenant governor there, Jay Collins. That's the Republican race for governor there. On the Democratic side, again, David Jolly, former congressman, former Republican, widely considered the big favorite there. In the Senate, on the Senate side there, Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate here. This one might be a little interesting. Alex Vindman, a lot of national support, a lot of national money, facing a challenger from the left. There's been some talk that maybe this one could get a little bit interesting tonight. We'll see. But the real action in Florida is going to be in a series of House primaries. This is a state where the congressional lines were redrawn dramatically this year, an attempt by Ron DeSantis and Republicans to get more seats out of the state, part of that mid-decade redistricting war that we've seen. So there are a ton of House primaries, a ton of drama playing out there. We're going to set the stage here in a minute. Before I do that, though, and before I forget, let me introduce the indispensable, if you've been watching these, you already know this, Adam Naboa, producer, numbers cruncher extraordinaire. Adam, are you ready for big night in the Sunshine State?
I'm excited for Florida. I love election results, but more importantly, I like quick election results, and I think we'll get that tonight.
I think our viewers do, too. If you've been watching this the last couple weeks, we had Michigan. Wayne County took us to the wee hours of the morning. That must have been about 2 a.m., I think, when we got that Michigan Senate call 2 weeks ago. A week ago, Wisconsin, the governor's race. Of course, we were on the air as we got the word that they had to go and get go and redo the process there in Milwaukee, and we watched it at home with the rest of you as that finally came in there. So we went to 1 a.m., I think, 1:15, something like that last week. Florida, it is. I'm just looking at the clock here because we got about 13 minutes. So I want to try to set the stage before the polls close because, yes, 7 o'clock, everything but the Panhandle, the polls close. And the way things work in Florida, if you've been watching these, you probably know this, but the early vote, the vote by mail, they can get that all set up. They can get that all processed and ready to go, and they can spit it out as soon as 7 o'clock rolls around. In fact, the state law is that within a half an hour of poll close, they have to do that. They have to report out these counties, all of the early vote, all of the vote by mail that they've got within half an hour. And then after that, that first initial batch, and that usually can be, we're talking 2/3 of the vote sometimes in these counties, all at once, real fast. After that, they will then report out the vote that was cast in person today, that same day vote. And again, that tends to be tabulated really quickly. I know we've seen in some of these other states that can go on and on, hours, days in some cases. Really in Florida, I know I'm like jinxing it here to set this up. You really can get a complete picture of a state this big in a couple of hours. And so that's the expectation, 7 o'clock, basically everything down here. You're going to start seeing counties light up, and it's going to be big batches of votes. So let's give you a quick tour of what we're looking for. I gave you some of those statewide offices. We'll obviously be following those, see if there's anything kind of surprising, but there's clear favorites in all those races. Where things are interesting is on the House side, because again, we said lines redrawn here. Republicans are basically trying to turn 4 Democratic-held districts into Republican districts, and that's just set off a scramble, a game of musical chairs. Some Democratic incumbents have changed districts in response to this. Big Republican fields have emerged in some places. And then there's some drama outside of those 4 districts as well, all of which we're going to be following. So let me just give you a sense here. We'll start maybe up here. Actually, we'll start just north here in the 6th district. This one's attracted some national attention. Randy Fine, Republican congressman who was elected in a special election early last year. He's expected to be to not have much trouble tonight, but this race has attracted some national attention. Fine himself, as a congressman, has made some inflammatory comments. He has one of his opponents here, though, who's been condemned by leaders of both parties nationally in the run-up to this. So there's just some, I think, national interest in this one. Fine, again, expected in this Republican primary. I'm trying to avoid to say to be fine, but he's expected to. But we'll keep an eye on that. Much more drama, though, right here, south of the 6th District in the 7th District, okay? This one is Corey Mills, an embattled incumbent. He did get Donald Trump's endorsement early in this race. Trump did not reiterate that endorsement late, as he did reiterate it for some others. And Mills facing a serious challenge here from Ryan Elijah, a television personality in the area, well-known. And he's attracted, Elijah, some big-name local support and some members of the delegation, too. Anna Paulina Luna, Republican, has endorsed him. So a very endangered incumbent potentially here in the 7th District. We're going to be watching that one closely. We're also going to be watching here just a little further south, the 9th District. This is one of the districts changed completely by redistricting. I'm going to show you actually the Democratic incumbent here first. Darren Soto's the Democratic incumbent. The district he was elected to, kind of looked like this. Southern part of Orange County, south of Orlando there, Osceola County, and then into Polk County. It had a large Hispanic, large Puerto Rican population, and he was able to win, Soto was, by double digits in this district. It has been redrawn. All of this is new territory in this district. This is sort of heartland Florida here. All of this is Republican territory that has been added, and the district has been changed. You can see now Trump would have won this district in a landslide. This is the terrain that Soto is now going to try to run for re-election in. We're going to find out who his opponent is going to be here. There's as the results start to come in, we'll show you there's some geographic contours to sort of this Republican primary. But again, Soto, it was a district that actually went for Kamala Harris by a few points. Now would be a Trump landslide district. That's one of these that's been changed, been upended by redistricting. Here is another, again, a Democratic incumbent, Kathy Castor. She's been there 20 years. She has no opponent tonight. We won't be talking about her primary. But what happened to her district, it's now entirely contained right here within Hillsborough County. There used to be, the one she was elected to in 2024, a portion of the city of St. Petersburg, heavily black, heavily Democratic, taken out of this district in redistricting. And again, a district that had voted for Kamala Harris now would be a double-digit Trump district, where Castor is going to try to run for re-election. She will find out who her opponent is tonight. Mike Beltran, Kevin Steele, two former state legislators. They're generally considered the two frontrunners here. Again, we'll get into the specifics as the numbers start coming in. I want to get through this tour, though. Also on the list here for Republicans, a district this one is a very different-looking district than it used to be. In fact, there is no incumbent running in this district now. The 22nd, you can see this is just all new territory going across the state toward the Gulf Coast here. It basically stretches from inland Broward County, Broward County, all the way across down into Collier County here, basically from like Weston, Broward County, down to Marco Island. That's kind of the span of this district now. So again, crowded Republican primary. The Democrats, there are two candidates here. Pia Dandia, though, has gotten a lot of national Democratic support. It's certainly expected to be their candidate. We'll see what happens. But again, this is one of these districts where just the redraw turned it into a district Trump would have won by double digits. And the last district in this category right here, again, I'll start on the Democratic side, the 25th district. Again, this is part of musical chairs. Jared Moskowitz doesn't currently represent the 25th district, but he's running in the 25th district under the new lines, again, because of all the changes. South Florida was kind of where most of these changes played out. In this district tonight, this is interesting for two reasons. Moskowitz, the incumbent, is facing, this is the only official DSA-backed candidate in Florida tonight. So Oliver Larkin running against Moskowitz in this district. It's basically a coastal district. It spans, Miami-Dade through Broward into Palm Beach. You're basically going from Boca to Miami Beach in this district, all along the coast. Moskowitz versus Larkin. Does the DSA have any energy? This would be maybe demographically an unlikely place for a candidate like Larkin. This district has a large Jewish population. It's a quarter Jewish, also a lot of Cuban American, Cuban expats, first, second generation. Not been the sort of demographic recipe for these DSA candidacies, but we'll see what happens here. But this district, too, whoever gets through, this is one of those districts Republicans are trying to turn into, through their redraw, a Republican pickup. Trump would have carried it by 9 under the new lines. And here's what the Republican field looks like. Again, a pretty crowded field has emerged right here. We'll talk about the specifics as the results start coming in. But we're going to be looking at those 4 districts. There's also drama in the 24th district here in Florida. This is a heavily Democratic district. Federico Wilson, longtime Democratic incumbent, not running. This is Kendrick Meek. You may know that name. This is Kendrick Meek Jr. His father served in Congress. His grandmother served in Congress. Third generation in that family trying to sort of reclaim this seat. But a lot of attention on that race. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the other one to talk about here is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Again, this musical chairs game that a lot of these Democratic incumbents played in South Florida. Wasserman Schultz, part of this too. Her home got drawn into that 22nd district I was just describing, rather than run in that now sprawling 22nd district that goes all the way out to the Gulf Coast. Wasserman Schultz opted to run in the 20th district. Okay, this is a black plurality district based in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale. Her opponents here, Sheila Scherflis McCormick, is a now former member of Congress. She resigned her seat as she was facing potential House expulsion. She's under indictment, but she is now running. So she resigned her seat a few months ago, is now running in this district while facing that indictment. A number of other candidates here. Luther Campbell, you may remember him, a rap star of the early 1990s. Elijah Manley running to the left right here. Dale Holness, a former Broward official who nearly won this seat a couple years ago against, won a seat a couple years ago against Scherflis McCormick. The question here, Wasserman Schultz has taken has taken some heat from black leaders for coming into this district, which is a black plurality district with a history of being represented by a black member of Congress. But will the divided, there's a number of black candidates in this race. Will that sort of divided field there allow her, with certainly a lot of name recognition, she brings a big, fundraising into this, will it allow her to get by and survive as she, again, basically moves districts here? I see 3 minutes till polls close, so I wanted to get through those. And I'm going to set this on a statewide race here just so we can see what the first county is that lights up. I'm going to set this on why don't we set this on we'll leave it here. In the first county that lights up, we'll obviously check in on the statewide results, but we'll dive into the congressional district if it's in one of the districts we're talking about. And again, we'll just talk through these races as the numbers come in tonight. If you're watching this and you're wondering, other states, Wyoming closing at 9 o'clock. Alaska closing at midnight. California has a special election, 11 p.m. Alaska closes at midnight. For various reasons, I don't know what we're going to get to in those. We may not get to anything in those tonight, to be honest with you. Certainly, I don't think Alaska at midnight, and it could be an incomplete count overnight. And really, it's just ratifying what we already know, Sullivan versus Peltola for that Senate race in November with 2 others. But, so I don't think anything on Alaska. And California, again, you know how that goes. There's that special election sometime in that 11 o'clock hour. You'll get a big batch of votes. If it's close, then we wait for days. That's the way it goes in California. If it's not, we'd have results. So I suspect the way Florida goes, we're really going to have a Florida show tonight. But these are fun because I hope I'm not like setting expectations they're going to blow up in my face. A lot of votes come in. It's just Adam's laughing because he knows I'm just jinxing it, aren't I?
I just get worried. I get nervous that but yes, the historical patterns are these votes come in real quick and, I don't know where they'll come in first, but we'll jump on them.
And did I forget? I wanted to get through as much as the 19th district. We don't have it on here, but I wanted to, we got a minute, right? I got time to get into this.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. It's not going to be a general election battleground. This is an overwhelmingly Republican district, but this is Byron Donalds who's running for governor, is giving up this seat. You recognize some of these names? Madison Cawthorn, former North Carolina congressman. Catalina Luft, she ran for Congress in Illinois 6 years ago. Chris Collins, former member of Congress from New York. He was the first member of Congress to endorse Donald Trump for president, 2016. Jim Oberweis, perennial candidate from Illinois. Jim Oberweis ran for Congress in Illinois in 2020 against Catalina Luft. He actually finished a little bit ahead of her in that race. Jim Schwartzel, he's a local. This is the listen, it's fitting. This Republican primary here, it's a wide open, it's been sort of it's attracted a ton of candidates. It's in that part of Florida here, obviously, where there's been explosive growth. Obviously, a lot of people moving to Florida from out of state. So isn't it fitting a lot of these out-of-state politicians who've come here for various reasons are squaring off in this race? That said, there was a last-minute endorsement in this race of Trump for Loff, so maybe that will end up settling it. 7 o'clock, polls are closed. Let's go to the statewide look here so we don't miss any county that comes in. It can. Now, sometimes there can be a few-minute delay. Sometimes it can happen super fast here, but something's going to light up in the next 5-10 minutes here, and we don't want to miss what it is. Again, if it's in one of our congressional districts, we'll zoom in and take a look at that. But it might also give us a little bit of clarity. Again, we know what the expectations are in these statewide races. Byron Donalds getting that Trump endorsement. Jay Collins, the current lieutenant governor here on the Republican side. His campaign, really, he was appointed to the job in 2025 by Ron DeSantis. The drama in this campaign has been Collins trying to counter the Trump endorsement of Donalds with a DeSantis endorsement of his candidacy. DeSantis hasn't done that. He stayed on the sidelines. He has not endorsed Donalds in this race. It seems that DeSantis, right, he got kind of, at loggerheads with Trump a couple years ago. Obviously, it didn't work out well for DeSantis. I think the thinking is that he didn't want to invest capital going against Trump's candidate in a race like this. So he stayed on the sidelines. Collins, I think, was kind of counting on that for at least to give him, maybe a fighting chance in here. So the expectation certainly is that Donalds will carry the day here. James Fishback has gotten certainly quite a bit of online attention. We'll see if that translates into anything here, but that's the Republican race for governor. Again, I'm just going to toggle through statewide races here. Ashley Moody, the appointed Republican incumbent there for the United States Senate, with Marco Rubio joining the administration. Again, she's not expected to have any trouble tonight. Keep an eye on that. What might be interesting here, we got votes. We've got votes starting to come in. Okay, now, this is Osceola County, and holy cow, right off the bat, folks, Alex Vindman, who came in, has raised about $20 million for this campaign. Alex Vindman, who was that whistleblower figure in Donald Trump's first impeachment back in 2019, became sort of a well-known figure to Democratic activists nationally, facing, this is Angie Nixon, a state legislator who joined the Democratic Socialists of America during this campaign, vastly outspent by Vindman. Now you're in Osceola County. As you can see, this is just south of Orlando. Kissimmee, St. Cloud is here. And look at that. Okay, we got Leon County. This is the state. Wow, folks, we've got something right away. Things can be. We got a big surprise right away potentially here. Again, now Florida State University's here, the state capital's here, Leon County. This is a big population center. This is the population center in this part of the state for Democrats. Osceola County, Nixon is leading there. Now the coast is starting to come in. Flagler County. Okay, we got just about all the vote. We think this is in Flagler County. Vindman's going to carry it, but he's carrying it by single digits. Take a look down in Volusia County. It's Vindman by 10. Go a little further, Brevard, Vindman barely. It's basically a tie there right now. So you have Osceola. This has one of the largest Hispanic populations in Florida. Kissimmee, St. Cloud, large Puerto Rican population in particular in Osceola County. So what does that net out to statewide? We got 8% of the vote statewide, and there is Nixon leading. We got a little bit more now coming in the Gulf Coast. Citrus County coming in here. This will be much bigger in a Republican primary. Hernando, comes into Vindman, but these are not. Oh wow, these are not numbers Vindman wanted to see. These are numbers Nixon wanted to see. We take a look too. Now, just zoom out 9% statewide. So Nixon leading that, and I want to just check in on the Republican primary because we're getting numbers there. Senate, no surprise. Moody doing fine there. Governor's race, you can see right away for Byron Donalds. Look, he's at 50%. It's 2-1 over Collins, and it's consistent for Donalds, right? We're down. This is his old congressional district, is down in this area. Flagler. We're going to do an update on News Now here in a second, folks. If you've been watching, you know how these go. So for Donalds, he's getting what he wants to see right away. In the Democratic primary for governor, for Jolly, clearly getting what he wants to see. So right away, statewide, this becomes the drama right away. Look at this. We've got nearly 20% of the vote in here, and Angie Nixon still ahead. Now, let's just Broward County. Holy cow, Nixon leading in Broward County by 10 points. I just want to, I'm getting my notes here, folks, because if you've been watching these, you know, we're going to do a hit here on News Now. In 1 second, you're going to get to watch the hit. Is that coming on right here? Okay. We got about 20 seconds, folks, so I'm just going to stop and we'll pick this up on the News Now. But folks, this is a huge surprise right away. Pinellas County, right? Charlotte County. So Nixon has Broward right now, has Osceola. This is Alachua, right? This is where Gainesville is. University of Florida. You know, again, state capital. Florida State's in Leon County. This is small here. These are so there is. That does put her ahead in the count. Boy, Miami-Dade, like these three counties in a Democratic primary, Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, are going to be about 30% of the vote. Broward is the single biggest, and that's why that catches my attention right away. The other thing that I would say that we've seen, remember, this is early vote that we're looking at. These big chunks they're coming out. Remember, these DSA candidates, the candidates on the left, we've seen tend to do better, elsewhere at least, with the election day vote, i.e. the vote that is yet to be reported out here in these counties where you're seeing results. If that trend holds, that's very favorable for Nixon. Vindman did just get some more along the Gulf Coast is coming in. We got Pasco, just north of Sarasota, yeah.
Big board, Steve, I know you're getting some votes in so far. I know it's still very early in Florida. Tell our viewers what you have.
Yeah, I think right away a surprise here potentially in the Democratic primary for the United States Senate in Florida. Now this is a race here because Marco Rubio, the Republican, joined the Trump administration. I'll show you on the Republican side quickly. Ashley Moody, who was appointed to replace him, certainly in good shape in the Republican primary. The Democratic primary, Alex Vindman, if you remember this name, he was the whistleblower at the heart of the first Trump impeachment back in 2019, which made him something of a folk hero to Democrats nationally. He raised a ton of money for this campaign. His opponent here, state legislator Angie Nixon, running to his left, joined the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, during this campaign. Vindman was thought to have a wide advantage over her. Certainly, vastly outspent her. There was some criticism that Vindman might be taking this for granted. And wow, these early returns have him in a real fight. I mean, in early, we've got nearly a third of the vote now in statewide, and you can see Vindman is ahead in the count, but it's close. And a couple things that jump right out here. Broward County, one of the biggest vote-producing county in a Democratic primary here. Nixon leading there with about 2/3 of the vote in Broward County. She's doing very well in Osceola. This is Kissimmee, St. Cloud around here. I think not surprisingly for a candidate on the left, Alachua County, Gainesville, University of Florida is here. She's doing well there. She's doing well in Leon County. And what those numbers are doing is they're keeping her competitive. You do see more of the Vindman numbers, the Vindman shade of blue popping up here, north of Tampa along the Gulf Coast. These are smaller counties right here, but you do see Vindman leading there. And on the Atlantic coast, Flagler, Volusia, go down to Brevard. I'm looking at some of these. And Indian River coming in, Vero Beach is here. Vindman getting a big margin out of there. But he's in a real fight right here. Really want to see what Miami-Dade, what Palm Beach look like, what Orange County looks like when it comes in, Hillsborough. But this is one that National Democrats, they're hoping to make this Senate race competitive in November. It's been a while since they won one in Florida. They thought with Vindman, they thought with the climate, with a new Republican appointed to the seat, this might be kind of a stretch opportunity for them this November. wow, this would, certainly the establishment of the party, this would put a wrench in their plans if a candidate from the left like Nixon were to come and win this tonight. But she is absolutely making this a game right now.
Yeah, and not just a candidate from the left, right? Steve, she's somebody who's campaigned with the Democratic Socialists there in a state that, at one time was viewed as a battleground state. It has turned red over the last few presidential elections. As you know, it's now the home state of President Trump. What you're showing right now, you're right. It is not good news for Vindman. I do want to ask you, I'm sorry if you already made this point, do we know some of this early vote or the vote that you have right now, is it the early vote, is it the mail-in vote, or are these votes today?
No, that's right. That's what they do in Florida. I'll give you an example here in Broward County. You see about 2/3 of the vote is now counted. That's early vote. That's vote by mail. All of these counties get that ready, and they report it out very quickly after polls close. And then in the next hour or two, they report out the vote that was cast today. And it's an important point, Tom, because what we've seen in other states, I don't know if it'll be true here, but we've seen the candidates on the left doing better with that election day vote, that same day vote. That's the vote that has not been reported out yet. And you see Nixon in it right now. If that trend continues here, that could be very favorable for her.
Just real quick on a clarification point. When you're saying candidates on the left, are you saying the more progressive candidates do better in the early vote, or that's not really the case?
Yeah, no, we've seen these candidates, these DSA candidates in a lot of other states. We have seen that election day vote, the people that went out and cast it in person, that's been where they've really performed the best. A lot of times that's younger voters that are going out, folks, whereas the vote by mail tends to be an older demographic that's doing it. We've seen that in other states. As you know, Tom, Florida can be its own universe, but if that continues here, that could be significant.
It is some interesting data. Again, as we always say, the caveat, it's very early. But, Steve, I'm glad you pointed that out. Really interesting stuff. Thank you for that. We're going to turn.
You have Miami-Dade.
Okay, well, we got Miami-Dade, and holy cow, Angie Nixon, wow. Angie Nixon there in Miami-Dade. Okay, wow. So let's just, a couple things here. We got a third of the vote in this Senate primary, and this is a huge surprise. This is a huge surprise, the way this is shaking out. That also means we're getting votes in these congressional districts. And one that I immediately want to check in on here, seeing that Angie Nixon is leading in Broward and Miami-Dade, I want to see what's going on in Jared Moskowitz's primary.
They've been distributing them throughout the congressional districts a little bit slower than you're going to have at the statewide. The one that we do have to check in right now is Florida 7, the Mills district. We do have results out of Volusia.
Okay,
there.
we do. So, here we go. We have, we've got that, Volusia County here. Mills leads the early vote here over Ryan Elijah. Again, there's other candidates here. Ryan Elijah broadcast a Good Morning Orlando. He was the co-host of that show. You could see and then you've got Seminole County, which is the fast-growing suburbs, kind of growing from the Orlando area here. This is about the division between these two counties it's about 50-50. I think there's going to be a little bit more vote in Seminole County than there is in Volusia in this Republican primary tonight. But so there's Mills with the early vote in Volusia County with an advantage of just 6 points over Elijah. So absolutely a contest there right now. So as Adam says, that we're keeping an eye on that. That's an incumbent who's in potentially some trouble. Do we have other House races, Adam?
I think that's the only House race that we have a bulletin on right now.
Okay, because obviously it just, I'm jumping down to 25, and, what 25 is, this Democratic primary, again, it spans here. This is Palm Beach County, this is Broward County, this is Miami-Dade County. And you see Angie Nixon in the governor's race. This is just a sliver of those counties, but Angie Nixon leading Miami-Dade and leading Broward so far. So we were saying now this is a slice of Miami-Dade, a slice of Broward, but it makes me a little bit more curious about it if something might happen there. In terms of that DSA candidacy, again, just given that that's where Nixon ran in this primary for Senate, and we'll check back in on that now. Look at that. We got nearly 40% of the vote in, and Nixon leads the count. She's powered certainly by some popular. Okay, and this just came in too. Duval County. Look at this. Look at that margin for Nixon in Duval County. A 57-point margin over Vindman. So now we've got, nearly 40% in. This is a, well, I'll tell you what, there was talk that Vindman was taking this for granted. And these results are have got to be a bit of a shock to him and to the party establishment. And again, this is a race that Democrats, it's not certainly in that top tier. When we talk about competitive Senate races for the fall, we haven't been talking about Florida in that list. This is one the Democrats had hoped that maybe they could put into play if the climate was really working in their favor. But they were all national Democrats who poured, I think, $20 million in or something like that for Vindman. It was premised on him being the candidate. And now, look at that, more than 40%. What did we just get? Another big batch. Was that Hillsborough? I think Hillsborough just came in. I mean, look at this. Nixon leads in Duval. She's crushing it. Leon County, state capital, Tallahassee, she's crushing it. She's up almost 10 in Hillsborough. These are big counties. She's up in Osceola County, where I think we're now getting same-day vote. And I think if we're seeing this right, this is key. That would indicate the same-day votes coming in, and she's winning it, as we were thinking, by a wider margin than she was winning the early. And if that's true, then this is even better news for her, everything you're seeing. Look at that. She's up in Broward, and she's up in Miami-Dade. I mean, these are big, big pieces of the puzzle right here, statewide. And these are smaller counties now, but she's also putting up, and so what that translates into, Vindman is in deep, 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 deep trouble right now. Okay. Adam, do you have I can see on here when we get House results. Okay, we've got some House results in the 9th District. And again, just so you know, we've been looking at the other statewide races. The other statewide races are all going as I think they were expected. The shock of the moment, what Angie Nixon's doing against Alex Vindman in this Democratic Senate primary. It looks like we have some results here in the 9th District. Okay, again, to give you a sense of what we're looking at here, Darren Soto, Democrat, represents this. This is one of the 4 districts Republicans have targeted through redistricting. The district mainly used to be Osceola County, a little bit of Polk, and then into southern Orange County, just to the south of Orlando right there. All of this is added Republican territory here under the redraw. It turned it into a district that would have gone for Trump, and now we're getting some results. Now, there's a lot of geographic division in this. Ben Butler is expected to do well in sort of these heartland counties right here, which together are going to add up to probably about a quarter of the vote. This is going to be his neck of the woods. And you can see that. Look at that. Yeah. Okeechobee, Butler is crushing it. Now, Okeechobee is one of the smaller ones here. It's about 6% of the vote. Here's where you got to look for Butler. About 20% of the vote is going to come out of Highlands County. But I think, Butler is going to run up the score. Here. Chalifo was Soto's opponent in 2024. He's running again. This is his base, Osceola County. He was on the school board there, and he's leading the count right there. And Osceola is going to be it's going to be about 21% of the vote. What we really have to see here is Indian River, because this is going to be about 40. There were Vero Beaches. This is going to be about 40% of the vote. And this is where Dan Green, who spent a ton of money, should be kind of his base. So Butler, Green, Chalifo. There's a little bit here in Polk County, not much. There's a little bit up here in Orange County as well. That's where Jorge Martinez is from. But again, this is the winner of this, right, is going to be going against Darren Soto, a Democrat, in a redrawn district, redrawn to be Trump. It would have went for Trump by nearly 20 points. And it's one of these districts. Osceola County is one of the largest Puerto Rican populations in the country. It's one of these districts where Trump had actually, the Osceola portion here, where Trump had really made some big gains in 2024 with Hispanic voters, with Puerto Rican voters. But again, this is the change that Republicans made was down here. Okay, back to the statewide Senate race here. I don't want folks to miss the drama of the moment. Which about now half the vote is in here in this race, and Angie Nixon continues to lead. Were you able to get a readout on that Osceola same-day early split?
The Osceola, I didn't see a split. I was looking at if there was a second result out of Volusia County right now. Let me see if that's in here.
Okay.
Not quite yet, but yes, we are getting some more vote, second, third vote reports. So we're trying to track down what exactly is Election Day. Yeah, we also have an update in 19.
We have got some stuff in 19. Okay,
yeah,
we'll take a look at that one. And if you can, if you can, in 19.
That was the one that's not on our shortcut, but we
this
cheated
is
up earlier.
our island. This is, yeah. I'm sorry.
very-
I was like, okay, let's navigate. I'm sorry, folks. We do these house races, and it's just, we gotta, there we go. So here we go. This is the one. This is a core Republican district. Now, this is interesting. All of these, so Jim Schwartzel is sort of the local, okay, in this, looking at these, just zoom in here. It's just right outside Fort Myers here, but this is like Lee County, a little bit of Collier County here. Cape Coral would be what you'd think of for this district. Very, very Republican. Byron Donalds district. Trump endorsed Catalina Loff at the last minute. Now, you're looking at, this is just from the Collier portion here. You're looking at early vote from Collier. Loff is running second, but Trump endorsed her very late. So if that endorsement is going to be what carries Loff, she will do much better with the election day vote than the early vote. The early vote here in this portion of the district, this is the smaller portion of the district. It's going to be about 70% of the vote is going to come from Lee County, about 30% is going to come from Collier County. She will need that to pop up in the election day vote. Certainly in Collier County, we don't have anything from Lee yet. So again, district-wide, that's about a fifth of the vote. Schwartzel with 30. There was a lot of talk that there's so much attention on these out-of-state candidates. Was that going to help Schwartzel, who's sort of the local? You see, look at that. Oberweis, again, these two ran against each other 6 years ago in the 14th Congressional District of Illinois. Oberweis won that primary over Loff. Madison Cawthorn, remember him, running at 9%. Chris Collins, former New York congressman, running at 8% here. So Oberweis, not far off. But again, what to look for here is what happens in Lee, and does the election day vote really break for Loff after that Trump endorsement?
If you want to go to the statewide Democratic Senate race, I do have some election day pre-election splits.
Okay.
So we can look at Lake County first.
Yeah.
We're getting a little bit of election day there. In the advance vote, Vindman was winning that 52-48. In the election day, Nixon's winning that 53-47.
Okay, so that's a 10-point shift. Nixon lost the early vote by 4. She leads the election day vote by 6. So it's a net shift of 10 towards the candidate of the left. Okay.
Pasco County is another one.
Yeah.
In the advance vote, Vindman was winning that 51-49.
Yeah.
In the election day vote, Nixon's winning that 61-39.
This is the pattern we've seen. Yep.
In Sarasota County,
yep,
Vindman was winning the advance vote there 66-34. And Vindman is winning the election day vote there 53-47.
Yeah, even in a county that's strong for him. Look at that slippage. Wow. This is the pattern we've seen nationally. And so that's, what's the hope here if you're Vindman? Look, a place like Sarasota, which is not a small, it's not huge, but it's not small. This is a really good, overall, it's a really good county for Vindman. But the rest of the vote that's coming in here, Adam just said, currently it's breaking about 53-47. The rest of the vote that's going to come in here, he's not getting much from that. And he's trying to make up now more than 60,000 votes statewide. Yeah.
In Florida, 20. We just got a report from Broward.
Yeah, okay, so we're getting some House numbers. Wow, that was very fast. We said these numbers come in fast, folks. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who previously represented she represents a different district now. Her house is in the new 22nd district. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who opted to seek re-election in the plurality African-American 20th district here, NBC News projects will win that primary. This is an overwhelmingly Democratic district. We can give you a sense of it. Under these lines, Harris would have won it by nearly 40 points. So Wasserman Schultz, whose career was certainly threatened by this redistricting that took place this year in Florida, goes to the 20th district. She will win this primary easily, as you can see. And in this district, this would be a safe Democratic district in November. So Wasserman Schultz, it appears, has survived. You could just take a look here. Again, part of the story here, certainly, it is split opposition, but currently she is running over, just a tad, but over 50% here. Again, Dale Holness, who almost won this seat in a special election a couple years ago, a distant second. Sheila Sherfless McCormick, the former Congresswoman, trying to run well under indictment. So Wasserman Schultz survives. Other House races, it looks like we're getting a little bit more. Looks like we're getting some in 22. Let's give folks a sense of what's going on here in the 22nd district. Okay. Again, we just said this is.
We just got 25 as well. Sorry.
Oh, we got 20. Okay, let's go to 25 because we teed this one up. What's happening to Jared Moskowitz? You see the surprise there in the Senate race. Is it happening in a House race for a DSA candidate? It is not. Jared Moskowitz. I think that's Broward. We're looking at. So again, it's roughly a third for each one of these. So the Broward portion here, and Moskowitz is from Broward. We got the early vote, and there's Moskowitz with a 30-point advantage over Larkin here. So again, the advantage that Nixon has, we're showing you in that Senate race leading in Broward County as a whole. Remember, this is just a slice of Broward, a slice of Miami-Dade, a slice of Palm Beach County, and we thought demographically it might be conducive to Moskowitz. Moskowitz, NBC News projects, survives this primary from Oliver Larkin, the DSA-backed candidate. Now, the question is, who will Moskowitz face in the general election? We don't have numbers yet here. I imagine they're going to populate any second.
Yeah, they'll populate in the next few minutes.
Yep, it's just the system is getting I would say it's a ton of numbers coming in, so our system, it takes a second to filter them into the right race as these numbers come in. You just saw them come in there in the Democratic race. Scott Singer, the mayor of Boca, I think a lot of folks might have said he might be the favorite here. We just got the numbers. And interestingly, wow, George Moraitis in the Broward portion. Let's call this up. All we have is Broward. All we have is the early vote, and 39-24. That said, Singer's base is going to be up here in Palm Beach County. So he's a little bit outside of his base right here, not finishing in second, but currently running in second. Let's see what happens for Singer when Palm Beach comes in his Boca base, if that upends these numbers. But early on, he's running in second there to George Moraitis, Dan Franzese, Joe Kaufman, who ran against Moskowitz in 24, again, in a different district. So much musical chairs here in South Florida. He's running in fourth right there. Again, the winner of this is going to get Moskowitz. Where else do we have votes right now that we could take you to?
Things tightened up in Florida 9 that we were looking at earlier in that Republican race.
Okay, Florida 9. So that must mean, this is all about geographic division. Indian River came in for Green. Right, Green, and again, the plurality of votes in this district are going to come from Indian River County, and there's Green leading, okay? There's Shalafo leading in Osceola with 3/4 in. And also we got, this is less than 10% of the district is going to be in Orange County. Shalafo leading there. Jorge Martinez is from there, but leading him narrowly. So what that works out to is an advantage for Green right now. But what I think is, and then you work your way down here, 17% is Ben Butler. Now, what I think is interesting here is what's not filled in, and this becomes a real big question. Highlands County is going to be just about 20% of the vote. About 20% of the vote in this district is going to come from right here in Highlands County. This is where Ben Butler is from. And just sort of culturally and demographically, these counties here are distinct from the rest of the district. Remember, Republicans redrew this district to turn it into a Trump district. They did that by dipping into this part of the state, which they call sort of heartland Florida. It's rural, it is extremely Republican, and it is Ben Butler's home area. And that's why so far, Okeechobee, the one county from that region that we've seen come back, looks so different than the others. Look at the number Ben Butler's putting up right there. If he puts up anything like that in Highlands County, which is almost 20% of the vote in this district. And also, there's a little bit of Glades County here, too. Between these two places we haven't seen anything from yet, if Butler is able to replicate anything approaching this, that number is going to zip up. He's down 7,200, right, total votes right now. And where's Butler? He's running 2,500 behind. Huge number out of Highlands can change things in a hurry. That said, still have a lot of vote to come in Indian River County. Green is leading the way there. Butler is running 20 points behind him. So that, but this is really, this is a big moment to get that Highlands County number when that comes in. Adam, maybe we could set some kind of an alert. Where else can we look here? The 7th district, it looks like in Corey Mills district, we're getting a little bit more. What do we have? Do we have some same day here now?
Yeah,
Volusia?
We got a second update out of Volusia.
So how's the difference between the early and the same day here?
I don't have it quite broken out.
It's gotten closer
into the system, but yeah, I can just talk basically how the first 2 vote reports reported.
Right.
So in the first one, Mills was winning that with 43% over Elijah 36%. And in the most recent update, which was 3,000 votes, Elijah was winning that 46-34.
So this is interesting because with the MAGA vote tends to be more that election day. Is Mills going to get the MAGA? Now this is 3,000. This might be kind of an outlier, but is this telling us that Elijah might be outperforming Mills with the election day vote? And if that's the case, again, Mills would be in big trouble because look, he jumped out to a lead in the early vote here in Volusia, and now if Elijah keeps hitting the election day vote at the clip Adam just said, Elijah would probably catch Mills with the remaining vote there in Volusia County. We have to see if it looks any different in Seminole County, but potentially that is, this is an incumbent who's clearly in some trouble right now, some big trouble there in the 7th district. In the 6th, I did want to check in. We said we thought Randy Fine would likely be okay. This is what it looks like. This is just one county here, Lake County. We're getting a part of Lake County in. Fine leading that by about 35 points. Again, 7th district. Where else? Just looking, do we have some numbers here? Looks like the 14th district. We've got some numbers. This is Kathy Castor, the Democrat. Again, we've got it. We've actually got a result here. Okay, so this is significant. Mike Beltran is a former state legislator from Hillsborough County. NBC News is projecting will win the Republican primary in Florida's 14th congressional district. He's defeating another former state legislator, Kevin Steele. There were questions about Steele's residency. The district that he represented in the state legislature was actually from Pasco County, so none of the constituents from his legislative district were actually in this district. They both were self-funding. They are large parts of their campaign, millions spent on each side. Mike Beltran wins that nomination. And again, Beltran now will face off against Kathy Castor, Democrat. She's been in office 20 years. Her mother, Betty Castor, you may know the name, longtime fixture in Florida Democratic politics, nearly won a seat in the United States Senate, I think back in 2004. And so Kathy Castor will be running against Beltran in a district, again, that went for under these new lines. They took out, the Republicans took out some heavily Democratic parts of St. Petersburg under these new lines. Trump would have carried this by more than 10 points. Beltran, this would be a pickup for Republicans. This is one of 4 that they're targeting. In a minute, we're going to go back on News Now. What else do we have, Adam? I don't want to neglect it. The Democratic Senate primary. 70% of the vote. Do we have, and we got some we got Palm Beach County in.
Yep.
Vindman is leading there. He gets a bounce out of Palm Beach County. Just taking a look, 30 seconds, we're going to go to News Now. Again here, Lee, Collier, these are bigger in Republican primaries, but they're not insignificant. So we're at 70% of the vote and a 65,000 vote lead for Nixon. And they're coming to me in about 10 seconds, folks. So we'll stay on this. Oh, okay, they're going to.
Steve, this is a big win for a lot of reasons.
I'm sorry, say that again, Tom. I missed.
I think we have a race call in Florida. I think it's Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz in the 20.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. We on the House side here, Wasserman Schultz, her district was transformed by this redistricting effort. Her house is actually in a different district. She opted to run here in the 20th district. This is based in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale. There was some controversy because this is a plurality African-American district. There's a history in this district of representation by black members of Congress, but she decided to run here. And again, there's sort of split opposition. You can see to Wasserman Schultz. She easily out-fundraised her opponents, so she wins this thing handily. And again, this is an overwhelmingly Democratic district. Kamala Harris won it by nearly 40 points. So it looks like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, whose career was certainly threatened by the redraw here in Florida this year, has survived this primary and is very likely to go back to Congress next January.
And somewhat of a counterpoint to what we were talking about earlier in the broadcast, right? She's the establishment running candidate. You had a Democratic socialist there at the bottom who was getting some traction running with that trio of candidates in Florida, but not so much tonight, right?
Well, and I think, more to that point, Tom, in the 25th district, we also have a call here in the Democratic primary. Jared Moskowitz, who is being challenged by Oliver Larkin, who is a Democratic Socialist of America endorsed candidate. Again, this is Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade along the coast. Moskowitz, we're projecting, has survived, has won there. You can see the margin now just over 20 points. So, it continues to be the story in that Senate race here. Angie Nixon, the candidate to the left, with nearly 3/4 of the vote now. And what we had talked about, Tom, the last time I checked in with you about was Nixon going to be doing better as that Election Day vote came in? It looks like she is. We've seen this in a number of counties now. As the Election Day vote comes in, her totals are getting better and better. And you can see that's an 8-point margin, essentially, she has over Vindman. So in the Senate race, you're seeing something there that the left, I think, will crow about if this holds, but not necessarily in some of those House districts.
Democrats are going to be studying that race. Okay, Steve, thank you. Always great to have you. As the midterm battle.
Okay, folks, I appreciate Tom rolling with us here because we're juggling a lot, as I think you are, and I don't want to lose. This is the most significant statewide result that we've seen. Again, the others are kind of going to form. This is the one that's I think, a surprise to a lot of folks. And that Nixon lead here, again, the biggest thing she has going for her, the two main things she has going for her are the fact that she's ahead, but it's that she's doing better with the Election Day vote. And it's just, so even in the counties, as we're showing you, even in the counties that are Vindman's shade of blue, right, a place like Lee County, Sarasota was a good one to show you here, where Vindman's getting a big chunk of the vote. The vote that's coming in now in these places isn't nearly as pro-Vindman as this total. It's this Election Day vote that's coming in that's much more Nixon. Now, where is their outstanding vote here? Remember, right here is the panhandle. The polls don't close here for another 25 minutes. Now, how many votes are here in the Democratic primary? Not many, probably 3 to 4%. We'll say about 4% of the votes in a statewide Democratic primary are going to come out of these panhandle counties. So, in theory, it's an opportunity there for Vindman. But look, so far, it's Nixon who's winning. These are overwhelmingly Republican counties, but it's Nixon who's winning. Look at this. It's Nixon who's winning up here. Leon County, this is one of the first that we saw come in tonight. Jefferson County kind of get into that, into the bend there. And so, yes, the left here, there'll probably be some debate. What was this? What does this represent? If this is it's something that holds here, there was a lot of talk that, again, Vindman was kind of asleep at the wheel with his campaign. As a result like this speak to his failures as a candidate? Does it speak to something that Nixon herself tapped into? She didn't have nearly the kind of resources that Vindman did to get a message out, but something has resonated here in a very big way to have a result like this that I think goes so counter to what expectations were. Again, just checking in, Miami-Dade, Nixon continues to lead there by 18 points. Broward County up to nearly 80% of the vote. She is not winning in Palm Beach County. So, Adam, I don't want to lose sight of this one with so much happening here. And you tell me if I should linger on this screen for a little bit. No. Okay, then I do want to just not lose sight of what's happening in the House races because it looks like in the 7th district we've had a development. Let me take you there. Again, this is Corey Mills, embattled Republican incumbent. He has now fallen behind Ryan Elijah. And why? Because it's still in Volusia County. It's what we said. The Election Day vote. Adam told us about the first 3,000 votes of Election Day vote in Volusia County breaking for Elijah. I said, maybe it's an outlier. Let's see more. Now we've seen more. More Election Day voters come in. It continues. Elijah is pouring it on with the Election Day vote. He's now taken the lead in the count in Volusia County, narrowly, but he's taken the lead. The trajectory, the important thing is with 17% of the vote, a sixth of the vote still to come in Volusia County. The Election Day vote is what this is. The trajectory is clearly pro-Elijah with that. So you can expect him, I think, likely here to expand on this in Volusia as the remaining vote comes in. Now, Volusia is about 45% of the vote in this district. We need to see Seminole. Is Seminole going to look like Volusia, or is it going to look different? For Mills now, it's got to look different. Otherwise, We've been tracking them. We've had a number of incumbents lose primaries this year, House primaries. We saw John Larson, Democrat, go down in Connecticut last week. Is Mills about to join Larson and a number of others on that list? Certainly what's happening in Volusia County suggests that distinct possibility. We have had, it looks like more has come in the 9th congressional district. Let me take a look there. Yes, Highlands County. We said, what was Butler's number going to be? Well, Butler got the lead. This is the early vote. Ben Butler with the lead in Highlands County. Nothing like he did in Okeechobee. It's 32. It's only 10 over Greene. That's good news for Greene. Greene is pulling out this kind of number in Indian River, which is the biggest single source of votes in this district. Go far from Indian River County into Heartland, Florida. Okay, it's Ben Butler's backyard. Ben Butler's leading it, but Greene is second and only 10 points behind him there. Greene is beating Butler by 20 points, right, in his neck of the woods, a little bit more than 20. In the heart of Butler country, you would say Butler's only beating Greene by 10 right now. What that nets out to is Greene is leading. This is narrow. Greene, though, is leading Butler by about 1,200 votes. In Chalifo, meanwhile, powered by Osceola, right?
We did make a new call in Florida House 6, the Randy Fine race.
We've called it for Randy Fine.
Yes.
Okay, called it for Randy Fine. Chalifo here, Osceola County. Now, that we got 88% of the vote in Osceola County. 88% of the vote is in there, only 63 in Indian River. So right now, I think the possibility that's raised here, and how much is coming in 63 in Orange. Again, Orange is less than 10%. It's about 21% of the vote is going to come out of Osceola County. It's the most complete county in this district, outside of Okeechobee, which is very small. So Chalifo is kind of breathing down Greene's neck right now, but I think that the Chalifo has sort of, let's use a Florida fruit analogy, Chalifo has squeezed more juice out of his orange than the other candidates have. Why? Because Chalifo's base is Osceola County, and it's nearly 90%, right? Greene's, we say, is Indian River, it's only 63%. There's more votes overall in Indian River anyway. And again, Butler, there's a lot to come in Highlands. Butler's hope is that the election day vote in Highlands breaks his way big time. So that would be his hope. Greene's hope, Butler's hope. The problem for Chalifo is, get outside of southern Orange County and Osceola County. There's a little bit of polk that'll come in, but he's running, he's getting doubled up in Indian River, and he's a non-factor in Highlands County and in Heartland, Florida. So I would look at Greene, and I would look at Butler right now, perhaps, more than Greene and Chalifo, despite Chalifo being in second place. Okay, where else do we have numbers?
We've had some...
Palm Beach came in?
Yeah, we've had some developments in 24 and 19. I've been interested in your take in 24.
Yeah, let's get 24 up. Okay, so we're looking at, we have Miami, we have a sort of a split here. Oliver Gilbert, okay. Chevron Jones, state senator in the Broward County portion of this district, is leading Oliver Gilbert by 9. Kendrick Meek, so okay, one thing we can see in the 24th district overall is that the Meek comeback, the third generation attempt by the Meek family to win this seat, not going to happen. So this is now a race between Oliver Gilbert and Chevron Jones. And let me I had a note on this that I want to keep in mind here. So there is a geographic split here, right? Oliver Gilbert is the Miami Gardens mayor. This is the Miami-Dade portion of the district, and Chevron Jones is a state senator. I'm sorry. This is the note I had. Let me just read this to myself because I want to pull sort of bigger lead with the early vote. Okay. I have a note to myself. Adam, can you check this? I should have checked this ahead of time.
Yeah.
The St. Petersburg poll, they did a poll here. Did it show Chevron Jones with a bigger lead with the early vote? The folks who had already cast their votes. Because I think that's significant if that's the case. Gilbert, again, that's former Miami-Dade commissioner. Much more of the vote is on the Miami-Dade side. This is like 75% 25%, Miami-Dade, Broward. And again, we got 70% in Miami-Dade. Gilbert's leading there by 6. And we got 80% in Broward, and Jones is leading there by 9. But you could, again, look at the raw votes. So with 30% left to come here, if this pace continues, that's advantage Gilbert because there's more votes from his portion of the district. Chevron Jones, 80% is in from the smaller portion of the district where he's leading. Only 70% is in from the bigger portion of the district where Gilbert is leading. And
yeah, what that poll found, this was posted yesterday, that Jones was leading among the people who had already cast their vote, early voters, with 48% of the vote to Gilbert's 26.
Okay, so it certainly suggested, and we know the polls have been a little spotty in places this year, but if there's something to that, it would suggest Gilbert also has an advantage with the Election Day vote. That's what I was trying to get at right there. So very close, but that's, the Meek family comeback not happening, and there's more votes left from Gilbert's source of strength than from Jones, and there may be, we'll see, some indications of Gilbert doing better with the Election Day vote. Okay, that's in the 24, and again, that's an overwhelmingly Democratic district, so you're just looking
We
at...
just got an update in Florida 22 in Collier County, and I believe...
and there it is. Okay. Casey Askar, NBC News projects, will win the Republican nomination for Congress in the 22nd congressional district. I believe we might already have it. Yes, he will face Pia Dandia in the general election. Pia Dandia, a former White House fellow under both Democratic and Republican administrations. She's championed by national Democrats. They've been excited about her candidacy. She wins her primary as expected with ease, and she will face off again against Corey Askar. Now, Corey Askar had run originally a number of years ago, Casey Askar had run a number of years ago, a near miss in a Republican primary for Congress against Byron Donalds. He ended up suing Donalds for campaign tactics after that primary. Some thought that might negatively affect Askar in this race. Donald's obviously going to be the standard bearer for Republicans that would appear in the gubernatorial race, but not the case. This is Askar's base, Collier County. He wins big there. This is the biggest part of this district. Almost half the vote comes out of Collier County. You're winning that 2-1 if you're Askar. And then right next door, Hendry, this is small. But between these two counties where you got results, it's more than half the vote. Then meanwhile, you get to inland Broward County. And look at that. Askar is in the game there. So that adds up to an easy victory for Askar. He'll be the Republican nominee again against Pia Dandia. And this is, I'm sorry, that's the Collier County vote. This district under these redrawn lines went for Trump by 10 points, a little bit more than 10 points in 2024. Okay, so that's 22. Again, that's one of those districts Republicans are targeting through redistricting, trying to flip. Check back in on the Senate race. Again, Ashley Moody. We should ask if there's going to be a little.
Yeah, just a reminder, the polls close in all of Florida at the top of the hour.
Thank you. That's
and
right.
Then I would expect, that race and maybe some others
Here I
to
am
follow
trying
at
to
the top of the hour.
outsmart the time zones. We are still, right, we cannot make any declaration in races where polls are still open, and the Panhandle is still open in a statewide race, no declaration. But, I mean, again, like you can see, we are just about the entire map now. Yeah, the entire non-Panhandle map is filled in now. Tell me, Adam, are there some complete counties here?
Yeah, there's a bunch of complete counties there.
What's a big complete county? I can
we got Sarasota, St. John's, Pasco, Hillsborough.
Look at Duval. Yeah, where did Sarasota land? Still at about that 64%, 63. Yeah. Palm Beach is at 90. I mean, yeah, this is a total disaster if you're Vindman. This is we'll see how Democrats react to what again, we'll see what the Panhandle brings here. But the numbers in the non-Panhandle part of the state are an absolute disaster for Alex Vindman in a campaign that was that was taking heat in the final days of this race for maybe being complacent. So we'll leave this here for a minute with Panhandle polls closing in 10 minutes. That's true as well in the Republican side. Ashley Moody, the appointed incumbent. These are not surprises what you're seeing in these results. Take a look at the governor's race here on the Republican side. Again, Byron Donalds still hovering right. It's been right there at that 50-25 mark all night. Collins, this would be his base. Hillsborough County, he's running at 30% there, but he's still losing it. Actually, is getting some votes up here, I should say. He's getting some votes up in North Florida, small counties.
We did get an update in Florida 7 as well.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look there because there's a lot of. Okay, we got wow, huge update. We said, is Seminole County going to be different than Volusia County? It is. It's more pro-Elijah. It's more anti-Mills. Mills is in deep trouble. District-wide, Elijah now leads Mills by 6 points. But what are the ingredients? Volusia County, a little bit less than half the vote. What happened? Mills won the early vote. The election day vote broke sharply, has been breaking sharply for Elijah, who's taken the lead in the count there. The expectation would be that number is going to increase as more election day vote comes in. Then next door in Seminole County, we just got the early vote, and Elijah is crushing Mills. And if form holds, where the election day vote is better for Elijah than the early vote, as is the case clearly in Volusia, then this is only going to expand. And so what right now is a 6-point advantage for Elijah, you could make a case is going to grow. Corey Mills, again, he ran in this campaign. A lot of baggage. We don't need to itemize it here. You're watching this. You know all of it. You knew he was embattled. And again, I thought it might have been telling, right? He had the early endorsement from Trump. Trump reiterated a lot of endorsements in the closing stretch of this campaign. This was not one that he reiterated. And Mills, you could see what's happening here. Elijah, by the way, it's interesting. Again, this is a theme here in these Florida primaries of candidates coming from other states. Elijah's from Indiana originally. He ran in a congressional primary, Republican congressional primary in Indiana, in the Fort Wayne area back in 2010. Then came down to Florida, established himself. Again, I think he was the host of Good Day Orlando. Certainly a good way to get name recognition in a district. Looks like it's paying off for him there. Okay, no call there yet, but so we've called so far, again, to keep you apprised of this 14th district. This is one of those that Republicans, a Democratic district, Republicans are targeting. Mike Beltran has been called as the nominee. He'll face off against Kathy Castor. And in the 22nd district, also targeted by Republicans, Democratic district targeted by Republicans in redistricting, Casey Asker called, will face off against Pia Dandia. The 9th district, we continue to watch. I think nothing new has come. It looks like we got Glades. Glades coming in. This is very, very small, but Glades coming in there for Butler as expected. This is the Butler core of the district. Waiting to see, the next shoe to drop in Indian River. We've got early vote. Is the election day vote going to look like it? Is it going to look different? That's a fair question. Still a little bit to come in Osceola County. Shalafo, though, that's where his best numbers are, but there's not a ton of vote left there anymore. Shalafo also getting a modest lead over Jorge Martinez in Orange County. So look at that. Green with the advantage. Butler is the one I'm kind of watching as we get more Highlands. Does that Butler number, because if he could get that number up, if he could build a much bigger margin, a bigger margin over Green than that, there's a lot of votes there in Highlands County. There are still a lot of votes in Indian River County, too. Where else? We told you Wasserman Schultz. We also had a call, as we said, the 25th district. Okay, here we go. We said, would this change, right, that early lead? So Moritas is a former state senator from the sort of northern Broward area. So he did, and we've got he's going to win Broward. We think this might be all the vote from Broward in this district. He's going to win it. This includes areas he represented in the state legislature. We said, though, would Palm Beach, where Singer, the mayor of Boca, would that come in? And look at that. Singer wins it. Franzisa close second. Not wins. I'm sorry. We're at 2/3. Singer's leading it. Franzisa a close second there. And then the Miami-Dade portion, Singer's leading big. That's where it's really delivering for him. Yes.
An update in 19, not on your shortcuts, but we just got Lee County there.
Okay. Okay. Let's get over. Let's find our way south here. And we had Collier. We needed Lee. Schwartz, okay. So actually, two questions here. Is that just early vote in Lee?
I think there's some mix there in Lee.
And is this, we think Collier's complete?
Yes, Collier should be complete. And if you want to go to the district-wide.
Yeah, that's
result.
wow. And that's, yep. So NBC News projects that Jim Schwartzel will win the Republican primary in Florida's 19th congressional district. This is significant. He defeats the Trump-endorsed candidate, Catalina Loff. And we just saw it before that check mark came up. That was the tell. And you got it out of Collier County, where if you remember, the first votes that came in here, the early vote had Schwartzel leading by 10. And we said, okay, that's a good start for him. But with that Trump endorsement, was that going to result in a big reversal on the Election Day vote? Clearly, Loff did better on the Election Day vote than she did on the early vote, but only enough to cut what it was a 10-point deficit down to 5. And so when she emerges there short, and then you get the early vote here in Lee County showing, the same break, that's enough. That's just too much for her to overcome. So again, this is a overwhelmingly Republican district. This has sort of become one of the core Republican areas in Florida, kind of quietly, this sort of Southwest Florida area here, super, super fast growing. Folks, Jim Oberweis, this man, I will give him the political eulogy here a little bit. I mean, he's run for the United States Senate in Illinois. He's run for governor in Illinois multiple times. He's run for Congress in Illinois. He came achingly close in 2020. He lost by, I think, 1.3 points in Illinois' 14th congressional district. He did get elected once to the state Senate in Illinois, found his way, as many his age from the north do, down to Southwest Florida, and took a shot here. Again, what a crazy world it is. He and Loff ran against each other in that Illinois 14 Republican primary in 2020. Oberweis beat her in that race. She's leading him here, but neither one of them is going to catch Jim Schwartzel. He's going to win this primary and again be the overwhelming favorite in a district Trump carried by 30 points. So that was a very interesting race to watch. And just again, if you were curious, if you're watching this, you were probably curious. How did Madison Cawthorn do? There's your answer. Chris Collins. He'll always be the answer to a trivia question. Who was the first sitting member of Congress when Donald Trump first ran for president to endorse him? It was Chris Collins. Collins did not get the Trump endorsement in this campaign. He did get a Trump pardon in 2020. He'd probably choose the pardon over the endorsement, would be my guess. Okay, so that's the 19th district. Where else do we have votes here? We got Washington. We told you Wasserman Schultz. I'm looking at Ryan Elijah. Nothing new there. But yeah, I'll just go back to that Scott Singer one because the difference maker for Singer, he's doing pretty good in his neck of the woods there. Palm Beach, where Boca. Oh, we just got more vote here. More vote came in, and again, this is Election Day vote now is coming in Palm Beach County. Again, Singer, the mayor, up in this part of the district, and that now takes you to 90% of the vote in. And Singer now has opened up a 1,500 vote margin over Moraitis. The key there, I think. It's not the number for Singer is good. It's 10 points of separation from Moraitis, but then look what's happening in Miami-Dade. That's the story. And look where the vote is. The most vote that's left to come in this district is Miami-Dade. And Singer is crushing Moraitis there, crushing Franzese there by 20 points. So look, we think maybe it's possible all the vote is in the Broward portion of the district. There's a little bit to come in Palm Beach. The place where there's vote to come is the place where Singer is by far doing the best. So it's looking, if you're at Scott Singer headquarters right now, you're getting really excited. And if you're at Jared Moskowitz headquarters, you're getting the opposition research books out because it's certainly pointing here towards the distinct possibility that the 25th district, again, will be Moskowitz versus Singer. This is one of the four that Republicans have redrawn to try to get extra seats out of Florida, new seats out of Florida, because under the new lines, Trump would have won this district by 9 points, right? Now, an interesting note on this is if you wound the clock back 4 years earlier, right, in 2024, in fact, can I show you that? Yeah, Biden would have won it, right? So Democrats, we're saying the Republicans are trying to get 4 new districts out of Florida through the redistricting. The Democrats are hoping that, remember, Trump's had a surge-level support in Florida in 2024, won it by 13 points. He'd won it by 3 in 2020. You know, he didn't make 10-point gains in every state around the country. Florida was kind of special for him in 24. The Democrats are hoping it was kind of a one-off. That surge level was a one-off. Not that Florida necessarily has become a blue state, but if it were to recede to something closer to 2020 levels, you know, that's what this district looked like in 2020. So that's what Moskowitz and the Democrats are hoping for here. But again, Scott Singer here, the math is working in Singer's favor in that Republican primary. There's going to be another update here for News Now in about 2 minutes, which means I want to check in on, look at this now. What's happening here is, you know, with every county filled in, the only thing that's coming in now until the panhandle closes, everything that's coming in at this moment is Election Day vote. And the Election Day vote's been real good for Angie Nixon. Double digit advantage for her. 25 seconds now until 8 o'clock. Very important, because at 8 o'clock, these polls close. All of Florida's closed. And as we say, our decision desk cannot make any projections in statewide races before all the polls are closed everywhere in the state. But when they're closed, the decision desk can do that if it deems it to be the case. So I just point that out. I point that out with Ashley Moody, the appointed Republican incumbent in the Senate race there, ahead by 66 points. I point that out in the gubernatorial primary. Excuse me, I see check marks there.
Well, we're at 8 o'clock.
There it is. That's why I see check marks. It's 8 o'clock. But I was like, polls close. Okay, NBC News projects that David Jolly will win the Democratic nomination for governor in Florida. He will face off in the fall against Congressman Byron Donalds. NBC News projects will win the Republican primary. Donalds endorsed by Donald Trump at the start of his campaign, easily defeating Jay Collins, the Republican lieutenant governor. The surprise of the night, though, on the Senate side, not here, where NBC News projects that Ashley Moody, the appointed incumbent, will easily win the Republican primary. It's right here. NBC News projects that Angie Nixon has defeated Alexander Vindman in the Democratic primary for the United States Senate in Florida. This one is a monster of an upset. Vindman raised a ton of money, came into this with a ton of national name recognition, national support in this race, and the hope of Democrats that he could make this, we're going to do News Now here in a second, that he could make this a fight, put Florida on the map nationally. Instead, Angie Nixon from the left has defeated him handily in this primary. About to do the News Now hit. So, folks, I'm here in the News Now, and I'm just going to show you some results while we do this. But we're going to do News Now here in a second.
For his House seat, let's bring in Steve Kornacki to walk us through the results that we've got so far. Steve, all kinds of primaries being called right now. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, look, the votes came in real fast and a lot of clarity in Florida. Here's the surprise of the hour. It is in the race for the United States Senate, the Democratic primary here. Angie Dixon, an underfunded state legislator, has defeated handily Alexander Vindman. Vindman, this is a name I think folks might remember. He was the whistleblower at the heart of the 2019 impeachment of Donald Trump. He came into this with a ton of national support, a ton of national money. There had been some concerns from Democratic leaders that maybe he was a bit complacent as a candidate. Wow, that proved to be true. He's been upset by Angie Nixon. Nixon, who came at him from the left, who joined the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, during this campaign, who wins this primary. Now, Nixon in the general election is going to face off against Ashley Moody. Moody is the appointed incumbent senator right now. When Marco Rubio left to join the administration, Moody was appointed to replace him. She's now running for the seat on her own. She easily wins the Republican primary. This is not a race. This U.S. Senate race in Florida was not considered, looking ahead to November, a top-tier race. Democrats had been hoping they could make it one, but the Democratic establishment at least, their calculation was based on Vindman winning this primary, not on a candidate as far left as Nixon winning this Democratic primary tonight. So that's the surprise of the hour statewide in Florida. But Gotti, some quickly to show you, though, some big results, too, that have already come in at the House level. There are a number of big House primaries in Florida tonight. Here's one, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Again, big name nationally here, former chair of the Democratic National Committee. Because of the redistricting that took place in Florida, Republicans redrawing maps Wasserman Schultz actually chose to run in this district. She lives in a different one. There was some controversy. This is a plurality black district, but she ran here in a primary, and as you can see here, bit of a splintered, crowded field. She's emerged with a solid victory in this primary. This is an overwhelmingly Democratic district, so it looks like Wasserman Schultz is going to survive the redistricting wars in Florida. Another incumbent here, well, let me show you the Democratic side. Another incumbent here who faced a challenge. This one's interesting in light of what we just showed you in that Senate race. Oliver Larkin is a Democratic Socialists of America endorsed candidate running against Jared Moskowitz, Democratic congressman here. This is in South Florida, Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade, along the coast. Moskowitz, though, easily winning this, easily defeating Larkin. Moskowitz is going to have a difficult general election campaign because Republicans redrew this district to try to knock him out of Congress, to try to put the seat into Republican hands. Trump would have won this seat by almost double digits, and the Republican who's going to oppose Moskowitz, it's not, we don't have a result yet, but Scott Singer, the mayor of Boca Raton, is leading, and a lot of the math of the outstanding vote is pretty favorable to him. So, the other major headline of the hour is right here. Corey Mills, embattled Republican incumbent in Florida's 7th district, with more than 3/4 of the vote counted, Gotti, is trailing Ryan Elijah. And the numbers that have been coming in, the way these have been, it's been getting better and better for Elijah as the night has gone on. So Mills is in serious danger, an incumbent here, a serious danger of losing this primary.
Very interesting. Steve Kornacki, so much more to talk about as the night continues. We're going to be checking back with you in a little bit. I want to bring in...
Okay, thanks. I'm going to leave it here for a minute in case I want to just check in here. Did we get anything new? We did. What did we get? We got more Indian River. Yes. Yeah. Looks like Indian River is basically complete right now. So that leaves us so what that does is it gives Green a pad. This is Green's heart of the district right here. Osceola is Chalafo's. There's still, a little bit more to come right there. But so can Green...
We just got an update in Seminole and 7 as well.
Oh, okay, let's go back there and then we'll reset that because that could be very significant. Oh my gosh, folks. That's massive. That might be all the vote in Seminole County. It's a landslide in Seminole County for Ryan Elijah, who now, with some vote to come in Volusia County, he's pulled ahead in the count there. He's winning the same-day vote there. He just won the same-day vote in Seminole County in a landslide. He's going to finish. Our expected votes at 95%. I just showed you in Seminole County. When it gets to 95%, that means our decision desk thinks that might be it. They're checking to make sure, but they think that might be all the vote there is in Seminole County. And Ryan Elijah winning an outright. There it is. NBC News projects that broadcaster Ryan Elijah has defeated Republican Congressman Corey Mills in the primary in Florida's 7th Congressional District. Mills, whose campaign was beset by scandal, by allegation, by the notable lack of a late endorsement from Donald Trump. Trump had endorsed him early in this campaign. Like last year, Trump sort of re-endorsed a series of candidates late in this race. Mills was notably not one of them. And Mills has gone down to defeat, and a sizable defeat in this congressional district. Again, Ryan Elijah defeating him. This is a district where in the general election, you see Trump has carried this district by 12 points in 2024. Democrats were hoping that Mills would be the nominee because they believed that with his baggage in a district like this, they might be able to make it a game in the general election. But that plan was dependent on Mills winning this primary. Republicans have taken Mills out. Another House incumbent defeated in primaries this year. We seem to have one every week.
I'll take you back to 9. We got an update in Highlands.
Wow.
So the race is close.
Yep, and here it is. We said, look out for that. So now this is interesting. But that's all it is and it's not. Because that might be all the vote in Highlands County. The election day vote clearly got better for Ben Butler in his backyard. But only enough to cut that green margin district-wide under 1,000 votes to pull within about 1.5 points to clearly distance himself from Chalifo. But if you're Butler, right, what's left? We think that's it for Okeechobee. We think that might be it for Highlands. There is still some in Glades, but Glades is tiny. And there's that little part of Polk here. He's leading it, but only by 11 votes and with just about all in. So what is left? We think that might be at an Indian River. Green got very good numbers there. We got about 10% to go in Osceola, and we got about 10% here. And the issue here, well, tell me what, Adam, what's the expected remaining vote in Osceola County?
We just got another 200 votes there from Osceola just in the past few seconds here. I think it might be just over 1,000.
We think there's about 1,000 votes left?
Yes.
Yeah. See, there are about 1,000 votes left here. Here's how it's breaking, right? So Chalifo leading Green is beating him by about 15 points, at least overall. You know, if that were to hold, he might knock 150. You know, the key is Butler. Butler's losing to Green here. Yeah. Butler's not even. Rewind the 966. The last update of 300 votes. You said, how did it break?
It was 200 votes, and Green won it.
Green won the Osceola update.
Yeah, I mean, he gets 21% of it. So no, he didn't win it. Sorry, Martinez probably.
Or Chalifo.
Or Chalifo. Let me see.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's so many candidates.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just trying to see if there's any difference if Butler.
Yeah, Martinez gets 25, Chalifo gets 23, Green gets 21, Butler gets 18.
Yeah, I mean, Butler has to. Yeah, this is it. You're feeling real good if you're Green. You're feeling really good if you're Green. So Dan Green, a former Trump administration official, poured a lot of his own money into this. Again, rides a very strong number. This is Vero Beach, Indian River County. A very big number there. Butler's backyard delivered, but looks like not quite enough for him. Chalifo making a second candidacy here. I think probably wanted more out of this Osceola base. And again, there's a little bit here in Orange to come too. But again, the key here in Orange County is just with whatever's left. Green is doing better than Butler. And the one who could catch Green right now is Butler. But where's he going to catch him? He has to do it in counties where he's not running well. We said it would get interesting with Highlands, and Highlands made it interesting. But I would say it's hard. It looks like that's not going to be interesting enough. But again, the winner of this is going to face off against Darren Soto. And Soto will be running for re-election in a district. It's a very different district right now. This is one where Soto is going to be a pronounced underdog because of this redraw that Republicans, that whole Butler area, you could just see that's all new to this district. We've called Ryan Elijah. We've called Casey Asker. We're still waiting. I see what's outstanding. The 25th, where Singer, it's looking, Singer's got to be pretty happy with what he sees there. And we're waiting on the 9th with, we're waiting for a call here if there is going to be one. And the 6th, Randy Fine survived. Was there any, take a quick look here. I wanted to see if, there was, Lois Frankel, Palm Beach County. Again, she got mixed up in this redrawing too. She was challenged on the left from Victoria Doyle. Doyle got no traction there. Clearly, I was curious if there'd be something there. I'm going to park this back on 9 because, all eyes are kind of here. But I said Florida goes fast. And we're 72 minutes in, Adam, and we are, in terms of the significant races here, we're waiting on whatever is left here in the 9th district, and we're waiting on what I think is largely Miami-Dade down here, where Singer is crushing it. So again, I'll put it up there. That's a little bit more complete. And
we're also waiting on Florida 24, which we had done a couple of check-ins on. Yep. We've gotten one additional Miami-Dade Election Day vote report there. Yeah. Small amount of votes.
What's the Election Day vote looking like? Because we said this is one where we thought that would favor Gilbert potentially.
Yeah. So I see this was a 500 vote update, and Jones wins 34-24 over Gilbert.
Jones won the Election Day. Do we have a cumulative? Or is that the only Election Day vote we've gotten from there?
Let me take a look.
Okay. That's, that would be interesting.
So yeah, I think the cumulative is 32-29 Gilbert over Jones
in the election day.
in the election day, with the advance vote going 37 for Gilbert and 30 for Jones.
Okay, so the complete opposite of what that poll said. It's fitting for this fitting for this season. The polls.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense in Broward?
In Broward, between the election day and early. Let me take a look. Yeah, we don't have the breakout there quite as finely, but I'll look into it a little bit more.
Okay. But so again, that's
sorry, we did make a call in 25.
Well, there it is. We knew it was coming, folks. We took you through the math. The story here for Scott Singer is that Miami-Dade delivered. It delivered for him in a big way. Did we get more there, or was it just sort of checking maybe? Yeah, so Scott Singer, the mayor of Boca, will win the Republican nomination in Florida's 25th district, and that sets the stage for a race we will spend an awful lot of time talking about this fall, I think. It'll be Singer versus Moskowitz, one of the 4 districts that Democrats, represented by Democrats, transformed by the DeSantis-led mid-decade redistricting, Republicans hoping to turn those 4 Democratic districts into Republican seats, hoping it can affect the math that would give them a chance at maintaining House control nationally. Of the 4 districts that Republicans are targeting in Florida, this is the one Democrats, I think, have are the most hopeful about retaining. Moskowitz, an incumbent in a district that at only 9 points, it's the closest of them. The 4 districts that were redrawn under the new lines went for Trump by anywhere from 9 to 17 points. This is the 9. So this is the closest of the 4. And as I said, if you rolled it back to 2020, it was a Biden district. So the hope from Democrats, again, is that those 24 numbers prove to be a little bit of a one-off in terms of just the extent, the scale of the Trump success in the state, and that Moskowitz is the kind of candidate positioned more as a sort of a centrist. Remember, Moskowitz had served in the DeSantis administration, that would position him to capitalize, sort of as a centrist in a district like this. That is the hope a lot of Democrats have, that if there's one they could get, it's this. The 22nd district, I should add, the 22nd congressional district, again, one of those that was targeted by Republicans, but it's also true that if you rolled back the clock in the 22nd district to 2020, Biden carried it. So I think if the Democrats are kind of ranking where they're hopeful, it's those 2. And then the other 2 here would be, we say, Mike Beltran, former state legislator, will be the Republican candidate against Kathy Castor. Kathy Castor here will be running in a district now that Trump won by 11 points. Castor, as we say, it's a very familiar name in the area. And I think clearly that the biggest underdog, the one where Republicans, we don't have we just got another update, it looks like. Maybe we'll leave it here.
Yeah, we got a
whoever wins this will be the clear favorite against Darren Soto, because this district was changed the most dramatically of all of them. What was the update we got?
We got 600 votes out of Glades County.
What was left in the Butler? No, there's still a little bit left out of Butler. How'd those 600 break?
52% for Butler.
Yeah, about this. How many votes are left in Glades? How many raw votes? What's that, like 300?
Our estimate is 500 right now. I think we're kind of looking around and trying to double check all these numbers.
What I'm thinking is that what's left in Glades, Butler could knock that down to like 600. He's down 755. He could knock that down to 600. But that leaves him short of green with only votes left probably, unless our expected vote is off anywhere else. Let's make sure it hasn't been. Yeah, that'd be the other thing. If our expected vote proves to be off in Highlands, they haven't moved on Okeechobee, but yeah, with a couple hundred left in Glades and Butler getting those numbers, with 500 left getting those numbers, he could shave 150 votes off that green margin. But then he'd have to continue doing it in Osceola, where again, this is what it's looking like in Osceola, and this is what it's looking like in Orange, where he's been trailing green, and both of them have not been getting a significant share of the vote, let alone enough where he could shave, where Butler could take another 600 off if he got it down to 600. 24th district, 25th district. Let me know if you have anything on the same day, election day vote split in Broward.
We just got those. We got 2 updates from Broward early on in the night. They didn't break out whether they were, whether the second update was election day. But when Jones was winning 41%, on the first update, he was winning 38% in the second update.
What was the first update?
The first update was 41-32 Jones over Gilbert.
Right. And the second?
Was 38-31 Jones over Gilbert.
Okay. Well, I mean, we know they report out their early vote first. That's the state law. So, again, if there's one where, 9-7, it's not a huge difference to say it's going to change. So how many votes do we think are left in Broward?
3,000.
Okay, if Jones wins the remaining votes there by 10 points, which is what he's leading the overall count by, he knocks that down to about 956, right? How many votes are left in Miami-Dade?
It's looking like 12,000.
12,000.
Oh, we just got another Broward update.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Gilbert wins this.
Gilbert won it.
Yes.
So he doesn't even knock anything off. So now we okay, wow. Now I think we're approaching clarity. We've got when our decision desk gets to 95, that's a significant number because we're basically getting to where we think the expected vote was. We think we've hit the expected vote. I want to make sure, as you can see, sometimes it ends up there were more, so they're checking, but that could be it in Broward. It often means that's it. And that's where Jones is getting his numbers from, to the extent he's getting numbers, in that he actually loses the last update there, losing the election day vote there, that last installment of election day vote. So Gilbert actually increases. We were saying, what a minute ago I was saying, what if Jones could take the remaining Broward vote and get it down to 950? Instead, Gilbert took potentially the remaining Broward vote and brought it up to 1326, leaving, as Adam just said, 13,000 votes left in Miami-Dade. And Miami-Dade, sorry, this is so small. Miami-Dade right now is breaking for Gilbert. Again, this is, he was the Miami Gardens mayor and commissioner. And again, Adam, you said the election day vote, Gilbert was doing better here, right?
In Miami-Dade? Yeah. That's what it was looking like. Yeah.
So what was he doing? I know you gave it to me, but I forgot. What was the overall?
He was winning the election day 32-29.
Right.
So that's the update.
Okay. So it is. You do want to see more. If the margin is that 32-29. Yeah. Let's just see if the remaining election day vote. It would need to shift to Jones for Jones to, it's not overwhelming enough where you can clearly say it's going to go for Gilbert with what's left. But there's more things pointing in Gilbert's direction here than there are Jones. Back to 25, to 9, where we're still at 755 on green. So we're looking at this. We're looking at the 9th, and we're looking at the 24th. Again, everything else has been cleared here. We'll go through them again at some point here. But the headline, Corey Mills, Republican incumbent Corey Mills, handily defeated by Ryan Elijah in the 7th District in his primary. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, longtime Democratic Congresswoman, survives redistricting drama that saw her running in the 20th district. She wins that primary against a splintered field pretty easily. Jared Moskowitz easily beats a DSA opponent in the 25th district Democratic primary. And the big shock statewide, Angie Nixon crushing. I'll go back and I'll show you what that looks like right now in this Democratic Senate primary. Look at this. Angie Nixon crushing Alexander Vindman. Double digits here. And, again, the interpretations of this will be interesting. I'd be very interested to see here, read the different interpretations of again, what this was how much of this was a failure on Vindman's part and a reaction to the shortcomings of his candidacy, How much of it was energy for Nixon? It'd be an interesting question, but it's the surprise. I think it's the surprise of the night. The headline of the night may be Mills going down, but that's not necessarily a surprise. This one's a surprise, and that leaves us with. And we saw it. We said down in the 19th congressional district, we do have now a Trump-backed candidate being defeated. So Catalina Loft losing, despite getting a late endorsement from Donald Trump that I think a lot of folks thought would seal the deal for her. Instead, she's going to be defeated fairly convincingly by Jim Schwartzel in this primary. For what it's worth, a little bit later on tonight, there is a gubernatorial primary in Wyoming where Trump has made an endorsement that may also be in some trouble. So again, we've had these discussions about the Trump endorsement throughout this primary season. Strength that, well, it did not deliver for Loft in Florida's 19th district. See what happens in that Wyoming race later on. Back to the 9th district. We just got an update here. What just came in?
We just got another Glades update.
Okay, so Glades is really dragging this one out. So Glades has gotten us to 85. How'd that one break?
So there's another 200 votes. Butler wins 43% of them.
Yeah, which is, it's good for him. But again, it's close, but it's really hard to see where Butler could get the extra that he needs here to get past Green. Because again, barring these moving off 95, which they're not, it's going to have to come from an Osceola or an Orange. And we're at 95 in Indian River. So super, super close, but hard to see where Butler gets that extra room from. But we'll see. That's me talking. That's the decision desk who makes these calls, obviously. And in the 24th district, again, what it really is coming down to here, what it has come down to, is this, Miami-Dade County, where we still think there's about 12,000 votes left. It's Election Day vote, and the Election Day vote there has been breaking for Gilbert, but it's only been breaking for him narrowly enough that, for all we know, the next installment could break for Jones the other way by a few points. He's trying to make up 1,300, with 13,000 left. If he wins the remaining votes by 10 points, he makes it up. That looks like a tall lift for him, but it's not something you rule out when what we've seen so far from the Election Day vote's not that overwhelming. I got to just take a tissue here, 1 second. All right, so we're just looking at 9, and we're looking at 24. Am I missing any?
No, those at least from the list that I had put together, those were the two that are still outstanding for me. We got calls in, a few other districts that were on my kind of second, third tier looking list, but those are the ones that looked at for me.
Did I see that Charlie Crist was running for mayor of St. Petersburg?
Unfortunately, we do not have those results on the board.
Yeah. Well, I was having flashbacks to 2010. I thought it was 2010 for a minute because I'm looking at I was looking at the 24th district. I see the name Kendrick Meek. I think 2010. I see Charlie Crist, St. Petersburg. I think 2010. Remember that whole campaign? Crist was running, and then it imploded, and then anyway, it is not.
You can lead a long life in politics, as you were talking about with
Jim Oberweis. What's next for Jim Oberweis? Where do we go from here? What's next on the list? I'm not trying. It's good nature. Everybody who runs for office, I think you deserve credit for doing that. But yeah, we're just kind of. We've hit a slow. We've slowed down. We said for once.
We went through them all. Yeah, we got a lot of results very quickly and a lot of calls very quickly in those races. That Senate race, that was the surprise of the night. I feel like
right away. Yeah, I had the same. My plan had been to do a quick tour of the statewide races and then go into the House races and just live there.
Yeah.
And then we ended up just kind of looking at that and saying, what the heck is happening here? And I'm really that's going to be the thing I'm most interested in coming out of this, is to read about the explanations for it, but then also the implications of it sort of nationally, because it's in line with the story we've been talking about, this left. I also want to say for the folks in the studio who put this on, the heroes who, for 2 straight weeks, have labored until ungodly hours. I walked in tonight and I told them, I said, I think it's going to go. I think Florida's going to go fast tonight. And guys, finally I delivered. I was not. All we're doing right now. All we're going to do right now is see if we can get some clarity in these Florida races. But
yeah,
I think otherwise.
The decision desk is kind of doing a little look around for these outstanding races that we're tracking. But I think we can also do one big wrap up at the end of the night to feed some of the other programming around around the network here. But that's the business.
Why don't we do this? And I always say we don't set these as like we're going on at this hour, we're leaving at this hour, because we say we let the results dictate the length and everything. So they're not all going to go to 2 a.m. We said I think this could be a pretty early night. We let you go back to do I got another update here, and it just went for Gilbert.
Yeah, so we got another Miami-Dade update.
Yeah.
339 votes. Gilbert wins 116 total.
And what was Chevron Jones?
41.
Oh, wow. There's
34-12 is the percentages.
These are coming in very slowly, but yeah, that's even look, it's 300, but again, we'll keep eyeing this, and we're going to keep eyeing this. I think we will at some point we'll be out of here much earlier than before, which is good. So you could go about your normal Tuesday night scheduling. But while we have a lull here, and again, anything comes in, we'll go right to it. But while we have a lull, I can tell you, upcoming on this next Tuesday, we're going to do South Carolina runoff. Look at this. We got the graphic ready. Next Tuesday, we're going to do a South Carolina runoff for that Senate seat. Darlene Graham, Ralph Norman. September 1st, the state I was born in, Massachusetts. We're going to do. You got Ed Markey and Seth Moulton in a Senate primary there, and there might be a House race or two.
Well, I just saw in the past half hour here, Boston Globe just posting an editorial in favor of Seth Moulton in that race as well.
Oh, the Globe always has to. The Globe. Oh man, that was it. They always have the surprise.
They're trying to get in there.
Geez, that was the first election I followed in Massachusetts. They endorsed the Republican for governor. And I was, oh my goodness, because the Globe's a very liberal newspaper. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you can never tell with the Boston Globe.
It's news bulletin in that race. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we got that. There'll be a congressional primary or two there, I think, worth following. We'll have New Hampshire the week after that. Why don't we, while we're kind of waiting on this, again, just seeing if we get anything more. It's coming in very slowly in 24, and I'm just seeing. I keep fooling myself with. Sorry about that. I thought that was the check mark for the 9th district. I keep misplacing the button mentally. That's what happens there. Thinking we've gotten a call here, but we've taken you through the math there. Is there anything we haven't got to do this in a while? Is there anything in the chat worth responding to? Anything people are saying, questions, things like that. If you got anything, folks, send it now. We'll take a few minutes on this, and again, just see if we get anything new from these outstanding Florida districts. Adam's going to look. Very important.
People want to know how they can get the results throughout the night tonight. Stay tuned to NBCnews.com. We will have all the results for all Wyoming, California, Alaska. People were asking about the Debbie, you can give the shout out. Diego Kiwi asked, how about the Debbie Wasserman Schultz race? Elijah Manley was one of the runners up there. Fortunately, we projected that race.
That's been called, yep.
Okay. Do you have a pick for the Alabama Stakes?
Well, counting stars is going to be like 1 to 5. And I'm okay. What I'm wondering, they're asking me a horse racing question. I know. Like 0.2% of the audience. It's the big horse race for 3-year-old fillies at Saratoga this weekend. Can she do a mile and a quarter? Maybe it won't matter with the field that's in there against her.
That was a question from Jimmy there.
Okay, that's pretty good. There's a Chad Brown one in there that's a little interesting, but
What's been your most surprising result this midterm season?
well, that's a good question. What were the? I remember being surprised by how emphatic Korn and Paxton was. Because remember, we came on the air and we got Denton County in 5 seconds, and Paxton was up by 30. Just how emphatic that was. I remember some of those New York races. I think that the Espaillat losing to Chevalier was a big surprise for me in New York. Where else though? So where's the other DSA one? They're all DSA, right? They're the big surprises.
Yeah, I mean, some of those Colorado ones were, interesting, and they evolved throughout the season. One that sticks out to me, the Illinois governor's race. That was, very early on in the season.
Yep.
It was one that I was surprised by the result by. I think, the Los Angeles mayor's race was one that caught a lot of people by surprise in terms of the performance there, particularly with some of those mail votes in the city. Those are some of the interesting ones to me.
Yeah, I think it's just obviously the DSA stuff. Honestly, last week, Crowley in Wisconsin, that the establishment side of the party was able to sort of, close rank enough in that last week, really, behind a candidate who had, dropped out for part of the race and it had been an afterthought until like the final 2 weeks. I think that was a surprise. I think last Tuesday, going into that, the range of possibilities in my head for how that race was going to go was very wide, but it was much more tilted towards the Francesca Hong winning end of things than the Crowley. And I remember it was a bit like watching this Democratic Senate race come in here in Florida tonight, where just those early returns, you're like, whoa, this is Crowley's having a good night tonight. You're saying Nixon's having a good night. It just came in quickly, and you're like, wow, this is not quite.
Oh yes, I was
expecting.
Illinois Senate, not the governor's race.
Yeah, Senate, yes.
There is a question asking for a wrap up of all the different races, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I'd like to kind of see this through. I'm not sure if we're going to get any more updates from the 9th District.
We just got an update from the 9th District.
Okay.
60 votes in Orange County.
Yeah.
60. Yeah, let me see who wins it.
Well, yeah.
And maybe Martinez.
The point is, Ben Butler didn't win it, right?
That's right.
How many votes did he get from the 60?
8.
Right. So the point here is that Butler, there's a little bit left in Glades, as we've said. He's crushing it in Glades. There's a couple hundred votes. There's probably 300 votes now left in Glades. So, if Butler won half of them and Green only got, 10%, then Butler would net 120 votes, right? And that would knock down to 600 votes. Super, super close. The problem is, where else is the vote going to come from for Butler? Because he's the only one mathematically who's really within range here of Green. And it would have to come here, or it would have to come, Adam just showed you, a tiny update from Orange County. These are very distinct places in this district. Again, the district was drawn by Republicans this year. They really wanted to add this area to the district for general election purposes. But this area of the district, is very different from up here in the south of Orlando, in Osceola, northern Osceola. And what it means is Butler is just dominant down here, but is like an afterthought up here. And the only way Butler could win is if he suddenly, in the final batch of votes in these places where he's an afterthought, suddenly is dominant. So as close as it is, that's the only way he's getting over the top here. It's very hard to see that. Imagine how that could be. But that's what it is in the 9th District. In the 24th District, where we just had an update probably 5-10 minutes ago, Adam was saying, of a couple hundred votes. Again, Gilbert had 2 good updates, the last 2. One was in Broward County, where Jones is leading overall, but Gilbert won the update, election day vote. And then there was another update from Miami-Dade County, which is where just about all the outstanding vote is from. And again, it was good for Gilbert, and it was very, very bad for Jones. And so Jones is now in a position where whatever is left to come in Miami-Dade County, Jones would probably have to win the remaining vote here by double digits. That's probably the only way he could catch Gilbert. So it's, again, it's not impossible, but it would sort of go counter to what we have been seeing everywhere else tonight. So those are the two, that are sort of left here in Florida. And again, this one, the winner here, safe Democratic district in November. The winner up here in this Republican primary will be favored in the general election because, again, this is what it now looks like. Actually, I've been showing you the rewind to Biden, too. Even under Biden, this was a 7-point loss for the Democrats. So this is Darren Soto, again, the Democratic incumbent, going to be a very, very heavy underdog against whoever wins this one. Again, we've shown you. I'll go through them now. The 7th district, now we're just about all in, and look at that. Ryan Elijah wins this thing. It's yes.
We did have an interesting question. Well, I think we maybe want to do like a one clean wrap up of all the different races. So I don't want you to kind of roll into it casually. But the one question I thought was kind of interesting that came in the chat was there a difference between in the Florida Democratic Senate primary race between the oldest county and the youngest counties? And I was just looking at it here on the thing. This is not strictly Democratic primary electorate that I have here based on median age, but one of the oldest counties is Sumter.
Yeah, well, the Villages, yeah.
The Villages, and we had, I think Vindman was winning that, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Villages.
And one of the youngest counties overall is Leon.
Which we saw right away.
And we saw that right away. And just based on those two, you can see a little bit of that split.
Gainesville.
Yeah.
I think Orange is pretty young. Orange is pretty young, and also Orange is where Congressman Maxwell Frost, who's a left-wing Democrat, also very young. This is, his political base is in this county too, which was I think was one of the first we saw on the night, for Nixon. You're right. That's the thing we've seen. The sort of, far left candidates have done best. There has been a relationship, it seemed, with median age in a lot of these places. I keep hitting Scott Singer's face. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know. How do we feel here? What's the?
Yeah, I think we can kind of do a big wrap up, and then at the end of it, if we have another update here, I can let you know.
I think that's the thing to do. I know we want to go to the end, but I don't want to spend an hour of everybody's time waiting for 62 more votes from Glades County, when I think the important thing is what we've said. You need to see some remaining votes come in here, but where? We've taken you through it. Where is a path for Butler to overtake that? And in the other outstanding piece of real estate here, the 24th district, again, this is a little more volatile, but Jones is going to have to win what's left in Miami-Dade County, right? Which is Gilbert's, which is a stronger area for Gilbert. He's going to probably have to win this by double digits. That'd be the way he would win here. Down 1,400 right now. So I don't know, and I'm happy if they're sending stuff in, I'm happy to go through stuff too. Like I always want to thank everybody who's been watching this and participating. And just, it's a chance for me as we slow down here for a minute just to say too, we've depended on you guys with word of mouth and stuff. So again, we're doing South Carolina next week, Massachusetts on the 1st, New Hampshire on the 8th, 3 more to go in this primary season. Please help us spread the word. Please show up for these, and please help us spread the word in advance of these. Because we still have some fun stuff to come. Look at that. There's a newsletter too. Get your phones out, scan it to subscribe to that. But thank you. I really just want to say thank you, everybody, for watching these, and thank you the last couple of weeks who've stayed up with us till all hours on this. So, yeah, I don't know. Was there anything more kind of?
Sure.
Doesn't have to be. I'm just like, if they're there, I'm happy to.
This question is from Kevin. He says, do you miss your days in Groton, Massachusetts? His former basketball coach is asking.
This is that the same person who sent the question about the Alabama on Saturday?
I don't believe so, but I don't have a mental model.
Is it Groton, Massachusetts? Well, listen, we'll the fun thing about Massachusetts elections, which we will be doing on September 1st for Markey versus Seth Moulton, is unlike just about everywhere else in the country, they report out by municipality. So when the map for Massachusetts comes up on September 1st, you'll see 353 cities and towns. And so I will get to showcase Groton, Massachusetts, population like 11,000 that night. I think Groton will be a marquee town, would be my guess, but I'd be curious. They're talking about me here. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So why don't we do this? We need to pre-tape a thing for Morning News Now and stuff that recaps all these. So we want to recap them all. We'll do that right here with this recap.
Yep.
And then come back if there's anything more on your end, anything more update-wise, we'll get to that. But what we're going to do, folks, is just I'm going to put on the professional broadcaster's voice here, and we're going to do they're taping this to air this on News Now and some other places. It's going to recap everything that's happened here in Florida. Take me, 2 minutes. You can watch us do it. And then when we come back, if you have anything else you'd like to say to us, get in there. We'll take a look at it. Hopefully, maybe, we'll get some more updates from these two outstanding races, and then we'll probably call it a night, folks. And again, we'll go to our normal. I don't know. Do everybody have a favorite Tuesday night routine out there? We'll let you get to it. I watch Cheers. It's on at 11 on one of those channels. Okay, let's set this up on this. And so, we ready to tape this? Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, a surprise in Florida in the Democratic primary for the United States Senate. Angie Nixon, candidate running far to the left, defeats Alexander Vindman. Vindman, a prominent name in Democratic politics. He was the whistleblower at the heart of the 2019 impeachment of Donald Trump during his first term. Vindman had been the heavy favorite in this race, had raised by far the most money, had brought in national endorsements, but he's defeated handily by Angie Nixon. She will go on, Nixon, to face in the general election Ashley Moody. Ashley Moody was appointed to this seat to replace Marco Rubio when he joined the Trump administration. Democrats had been hoping to make Florida a competitive race in the general election. Those hopes from the Democratic leaders were predicated on Vindman winning the primary. And so now with a candidate, again, running to the left, to put it mildly, Nixon joined the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, during her campaign. She's going to try to win a general election in a state that went for Trump by 13 points against Ashley Moody, who had no problem winning her Republican primary tonight for the United States Senate. When it comes to the races for governor in the state, no surprise there in either party. On the Republican side, Congressman Byron Donalds, endorsed by Donald Trump early in this campaign, wins by almost 2-1 over Jay Collins. Collins, the lieutenant governor, he had sought the endorsement of his boss, Governor Ron DeSantis, in this campaign, but DeSantis stayed on the sidelines. He endorsed nobody. In the Democratic primary, no surprise either, David Jolly, a former congressman, former Republican congressman, wins that primary handily. He'll be the Democratic nominee against Donalds. In the House, in congressional primaries in Florida, a major development in the 7th Congressional District, where Congressman Corey Mills, embattled by scandal, is defeated in the Republican primary by Ryan Elijah. Ryan Elijah, a local television personality in the Orlando area, handily defeating Corey Mills. Mills, who had lots of scandal in this campaign, pointedly, in the last days of this campaign, Donald Trump released a number of endorsements across Florida. Folks he had endorsed before, but he reiterated those endorsements. He did not reiterate his early endorsement of Corey Mills days before this happened. Mills, a House incumbent who loses. We've seen a number of those during this primary season. Other House incumbents who had difficult or potentially difficult primaries on the Democratic side, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she's going to end up surviving hers. There was a bunch of redrawing of the districts in South Florida, so she ended up, Wasserman Schultz, leaving what otherwise would be her district, where her house is, to run in this district, the 20th district. There was some controversy. It's plurality African American. The opposition to Wasserman Schultz was divided here. She wins this primary handily. It is a overwhelmingly Democratic district. Looks like she will survive and head back to Congress most likely. And in the 25th district here, congressional district, you see the Republican primary. This is Scott Singer. He's the mayor of Boca. He's going to be the Republican nominee against another Democratic incumbent who faced it seemed potentially complicated primary here. Jared Moskowitz challenged by a Democratic Socialists of America endorsed opponent, Oliver Larkin. But in this case, Moskowitz wins. He wins handily. So it'll be Moskowitz against Singer in the general election here. This will be a closely watched general election. This is one of 4 congressional districts in Florida. Currently, the Democrats represent that Republicans, through redistricting, are trying to flip here in the 2026 midterms. This will be one of them, Moskowitz against Singer on the Republican side. So a Republican incumbent goes down, Corey Mills. A Democratic establishment figure is toppled in the Democratic primary for the United States Senate. A lot of drama in Florida tonight. All right. So let's just, we taped that. Do we have anything more in Florida 24? We had nothing more in Florida 24. Do we have anything more in Florida 9? We're still sitting on 726. Again, we showed you the math on Butler. If anybody catches green, it's Butler. But it's daunting to see where he does it, given what's left. Up here, places he's not running well. And in the 24th district, Jones would need to have something massive out of same-day vote in Miami-Dade, where so far he's not showing much sign of that. He would need to have that to overturn this in the 24th district. Again, the winner of this primary in the 24th district is overwhelmingly Democratic. So this is the de facto general election here, you might say. Adam, anything else on your end?
Some people mentioned that their Tuesday night plan is Taco Tuesday. So I say go enjoy Taco Tuesday for the rest of your night.
Okay, yeah, no, I got Cheers, but everybody's got their own thing. What's your Tuesday night?
Sleep.
Okay, that's a good one. It's badly needed by you.
Not just Tuesday nights.
By everybody
Every
we've
night.
kept awake. Everybody in this studio we've kept awake the last 2 weeks. Everybody who's been watching this we've kept awake. So there we go, folks. Let's just enjoy it. An hour 50. It's not the shortest one we've had, but it was efficient. We thought Florida would be efficient. There's the music. I was hoping we'd get one more update. We didn't. All right, South Carolina. Next week, let the countdown begin. The runoff, they're also a fast counting state. That'll probably be 6:45 next Tuesday night. Polls close 7 o'clock. And is that right, 7 o'clock? Or 8 o'clock? South Carolina's 8 o'clock. We'll get it right. We'll get it right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have jumped the gun on that. Boy, I do need some sleep. All right, folks. Thank you so much. We will see you next week.